Dear partners, I'm very happy to welcome you today in Lourdes on screen. As I was unable to welcome you personally, I hope that you look forward to come back soon to Lourdes, Cœur des Pyrénées, thanks to the short video that you have just seen. The discussions that will follow will be devoted to Lourdes Pyrénées Rendez-vous. Our goal today is to invite you to come back to Lourdes to discover our city as you have never seen it. Of course, all of this with the best possible sanitary conditions. It should be noted that Lourdes and the entire tourist stakeholder, but also the shrine, purely in terms of health label, have committed to the safeguard label from Veritas Company. I am convinced that the century begins in earnest today with the COVID-19 crisis, and no one in the world was really prepared to it. However, what is special about crisis is that they play a revealing role, revealing strengths and weaknesses of a model. These words perfectly sum up the spirit that drives my team and myself. This afternoon's goal is one example. Indeed, it is urgent to move from theory to practice. We must be ambitious. It is our responsibility. We must be able to work together in order to progress. 80% of the economy in Lourdes is about tourism. I know change is scary, but we have to know how to adapt to situations. I thank the government, the Occitanie region, the Hautes-Pyrénées department, the shrine, Atout France, the urban community, Tarbes Lourdes Pyrénées, and all of the participants. Now, I will pass it over to Miss Nathalie Jarreau, and I say see you soon in Lourdes. Lourdes, Cœur des Pyrénées, together we are stronger. Lourdes, Cœur des Pyrénées, it's already tomorrow. Thank you. Have a good day. Miss Nathalie.
Thank you very much, Mr. Meyer. We really appreciate your time, and we'll let you go back to your busy day. But we're now going to introduce our 5 speakers during this session. We'll see Monseigneur Darod. He's the Vice Rector of the Sanctuary. We'll then have Cécile, our professional guide, Céline, the bike expert, and we will also have Laurent, who will represent the accommodation in Lourdes. And last but not least, Mélanie. She will tell you all about the exciting things that will be happening in Lourdes during the season. You'll be able to ask questions anytime during the session. Using the chat. You can see the link, it appears at the bottom of the screen. Anytime you can ask questions, we'll answer them all at the end of the session. Are you ready? So we'll get started and discover Lourdes as you've never seen it before. We're now introducing our first roundtable with the most visited site of our destination, the Sanctuary Notre-Dame of Lourdes. Monseigneur Darod, you are the Vice Rector of the Sanctuary. Thank you very much for being here today. We are all going through a difficult time, but the Sanctuary is actually bursting with ideas to deal with this new situation. Can you tell us what you did?
Well, actually, we are answering the call also of Our Lady and the needs of the people all around the world. What impresses me the most is that we get requests from all around the world. We get prayer intentions daily, and so it just natural for us to be able to adapt to the requests of the people. And so we became even more digital as people were unable to proceed to the shrine. And I think that it is very important to notice that many people want to come back and they've been prevented. And so somehow they're starving. And I should say that also Our Lady is looking forward to the people coming back. We can give notices and news of the people, but obviously she's in need also of getting people back.
And have you changed anything else in the way you handle pilgrimage requests?
Of course. The way we handle pilgrimage requests, I mean, we are far more flexible regarding the dates, and also we are making our site even more available for those that would like to come. In the past, I mean, it was hardly possible to book a Mass at the Grotto or in the Rosary Basilica. It's really time to come back because this is now possible for those who would like to attend. But also we have adapted also our structures regarding the way we handle processions or, you know, the sacraments. And also we are very attentive to sanity, and therefore we have a health protocol that is also protecting very much the people.
I have one question though. Can we still go in the bath?
Well, actually, for health security, the way it was done is no longer possible. But we have received also this call and these many requests from the people that they can have access to water. And so we have now what we call the gesture of water, which is a symbol, a way of remembering also the baptism that we have received. And so people can go there and get this water that was given by Our Lady, and people are really very much looking forward to that. They're very deeply moved just to receive that water in the hands and to wash their face and to wash themselves with it.
Thank you. Are pilgrimages today different than they were before the COVID?
I think so. They will be anyway, because I think that it's also very much of interest for you from the intentions and the requests that we get from people all around the world. It is very interesting for you tour operators to know what the expectations are, and we see that they've been changing. Actually, people want to spend time in the place. They don't want to run from one place to the other. They want to be able to focus very much on the message of Lourdes, which is a message of healing. And in this time of pandemic, it is all the most necessary for the people to experience this grace, this mercy. So Lourdes as a place of healing for the soul and for the body is very much a place that is needed nowadays.
So you've mentioned that visitors' behavior have changed, but how did you respond to those new requests?
So we respond in adapting also our time schedule, in adapting also the way we're doing the procession. We're going to have the Nuit de Lourdes, so which will be a high point for a pilgrimage in Lourdes. We are working, this high point is based on a recital on Saint Bernadette, but also on the Torchlight procession. People want to experience, once again, the grace of Lourdes, but taking into account the present situation. And so that's what we do.
Thank you very much, Monsignor Darod. I can see that the sanctuary has been a pioneer in terms of innovation and a great martyr for the destination. But there is a lot more to do and see in Lourdes, so we'll discover them with our next participant. We are now welcoming Cécile, our professional guide specialized in history and heritage of the Pyrenees over 20 years. So Cécile, we all know the sanctuary of Notre Dame of Lourdes, but is there anything else to do and see in the city?
Oh yes, there is a lot to do, a lot to see, and especially after the sanctuary, you should follow the footsteps of Bernadette and discover the place where she was born, the Bolly Mill. You should discover the place where she lived at the time of the apparitions, the so-called cachot. Also the parish church where she was baptized, and you can continue to the hospice where she went to school. But you can also see many other things in Lourdes. Lourdes is a very old place, and we have medieval buildings. We have a lot of buildings from the 19th and 20th century. And of course, the main point of the city, this is the fortress, the medieval castle, which is nowadays a museum, but it's also one of the biggest military medieval buildings we have in the southwest of France. And the museum is about the customaries of the Pyrenees, so it's also good to continue to know Bernadette.
Mm-hmm. And are there any other museums in town?
Yes, we have small museums like the Wax Museum. It's a Musée Grévin. But of course it's linked to the Catholic life, so you have more than 100 wax characters, and you can learn about the Christ and Bernadette's lives. Then we have another nice museum which is called Petit Lourdes, and the Petit Lourdes, it's the city of Lourdes, 1858, as it used to be at the time of Bernadette, and it's made in miniatures. And if you want to see all these places without stress, you can take the little train, and you can buy the ticket for the full day. It's valid the full day, and you can go from one point, from one museum to the other one.
Great, so that's all about the heritage side of Lourdes. But are there any natural sites we can visit?
Yes, we are on the foothills of the Pyrenees mountains, so in the middle of the nature. And we have two very, very nice places in Lourdes. The closest one from the city center, this is the Pic du Gers. It's a small mountain, 900 meters about. And to go up, you can take a funicular, which is also a very picturesque funicular. And from the top you can walk, you can relax, you can have a drink, you can eat, you can visit a cave, and you can walk down or you can bike down also. And it's one of the best viewpoints you have on the mountains and on the city of Lourdes. The second place, which is really to see, this is the Lake of Lourdes. It's the only natural lake we have on the foothills of the Pyrenees, and it's a natural reserve where you can discover the flora and the fauna of the Pyrenees, but also you can relax over there. There is a beach, so you can swim, you can do pedal boat, you can do canoeing, you can just have a drink or eat, and just in the surround, on the side of the lake, you have the beautiful golf course. And in our Pyrenees, golf is really an old customary. We were the first one having the golf course on the continent.
Wow, thank you very much, Cécile, for giving us this new approach of Lourdes as a heritage and cultural center. So next time you are in Lourdes, please make sure you stay a little bit longer to enjoy the patrimonial and natural site it has to offer. So stay with us for more. To continue with nature and outdoor, let's have a chat with Céline, our bike expert. She will tell us all about Lourdes at the heart of the Pyrenees. So Céline, if I'm coming to Lourdes every year and I have not seen anything from the Pyrenees, what would be new and different for me to do?
Oh, Nathalie, first I will say the Pyrenees, because you never stop exploring the Pyrenees. And Lourdes is the heart of the Pyrenees. That means that you can use as a base to visit the amazing mountainsides, the Grand Cita. The first one is Gavarnie, my favorite. Gavarnie is the ultimate showstopper. Must visit it with its 3,000 meters, 14 peaks, and and also the Assom waterfall, the highest in Europe, 423 meters. Ideal for hiking, but also for contemplating, and for everyone, because you have a gentle path that leads you to from the village of Gavarnie to the Cirque and the foot of the waterfall. Côte-Répand d'Espagne is the second site, the epitome of the great outdoors, dotted with waterfall, lake, and marmots. Also, you have a wonderful hike for joining the lake, but also it's easy for everyone by a chairlift. Your hike is wonderful. You can climb up the Pic du Midi de Bigorre. Visitor reach an altitude of almost 3,000 meters by cable car, so very easily. And the new experience comes this year with augmented reality, but also with the new sky bridge. You are walking on a transparent glass bridge. It takes you over the unknown, and simply it's very breathtaking.
So you're talking about the Pic du Midi de Bigorre, the one that is right over the Tourmalet.
Yes, indeed, Tourmalet, not forgetting this ultimate mountain pass, 2,215 meters, famous for being the most ridden pass of the Tour de France. Besides, the Tour de France is promising us this summer an epic stage on a ride on Tourmalet into Luzerdiden with the final ascent very steep. You have to follow it on July 15. We are really a cycling destination because we host more than 25 outstanding mountain paths which cyclists from all over the world come riding in a total friendliness. As well, like the legendary mountain pass, Tourmalet, of course, Obisque, you can soak up the real Pyrenees on incredible roads, secret roads, surrounded by unspoiled nature, mountain, waterfall again, and it's a ride on natural and pastoral landscape. We are also a cycling destination because we want to give cyclists a warm welcome. That's why we have a label, Altamonta label, cycling label, includes 20 service providers, provide best cyclists the best in hospitality during all the year.
Okay, that seems like a lot of really good professional cycling, but is there any other type of easy riding I could do?
Yes, don't worry, you don't need to be a professional to ride in Lourdes or in the Pyrenees. We host a lot of easy activities. The first one is e-bike. It's very easy to climb a mountain pass on e-bike, open to everyone, and you have really to experience it. We have also other activities. Off-road electric scooter, exploring the mountain and the hill within 30 minutes without breaking a sweat. Lourdes is also a mountain bike destination because we host the UCI World Cup of mountain bike. Don't need to be precise, but don't worry, we have gentle pass and family, a single track for everyone in Lourdes. Lourdes is also the starting point of 17 kilometers riverside bike path that lead you to the foot of the mountain in a quiet and a peace of the great outdoor. And it's the Voie Verte des Gaves, the green path, is also wheelchair friendly, and we have a new Try Digital to explore Pyrenees, but historical dimension and secret story and tradition, and you have to enjoy it.
So if I am on a pilgrimage here in Lourdes, how can I do all that? Because I wouldn't know where to go.
It's very easy to first to rent a bike because we have several top quality bike rental available with mountain bike, road bike or e-bike, and mobile apps and website dedicated to cyclists provide tips to find a way with ease. And last but not least, cycling is a great way to explore the city, to historical dimensions, secret story, with a new guided tour for visitors on bike.
Thank you very much for giving us this new point of view on Lourdes, and those activities are for all public, right? So come to Lourdes and try them out. Now, I just take this opportunity to remind you that you have a chat if you want to ask questions. It's written at the bottom of your screen, so you can ask questions anytime and we'll answer them at the end of the session. So don't hesitate to ask questions to all our participants today. Let's continue. Céline mentioned certified accommodation to welcome bikers. So let's now focus on lodging with Laurent. Thank you for joining us today, Laurent.
Thank you.
I heard that Lourdes was the second city in France in terms of hotel capacity. Is that right?
Yes, indeed, Nathalie. Lourdes is classified as the second city in France in hotel capacity, with 137 hotels and around 10,000 rooms. You can find nearly everything in terms of accommodations for all budgets and any kind of customers. There are fully equipped hotel apartments, campsites, small family hotels, also modern and design and even luxury hotels. And we welcome all year long guests from all types, individuals, families, couples, spiritual groups, tourists, and also meeting and professional events.
Well, that's quite an impressive accommodation range. And with the crisis, have you changed anything?
Yes, for sure. This crisis has been the opportunity to improve our standard. We always have been focused on quality, but this particular year has been really made us realize it was important. So many hotels and structures have made some renovations. For example, expansion of their rooms. Some walls have been taken down to make one room out of 2 bedrooms. Also, bathrooms renovation, decoration changes, operational and service changes. Works has been made in general, in global, in terms of comfort, space, and also on exteriors and terraces.
So renovation improvements have been made, but what else?
The summer 2020 was very special, and we saw the development of new clienteles in search of new topics. For example, they were looking for space, they were looking for mountains, natural landscapes, sports such as cycling, trail running, even hiking. So we have been therefore working to build more better links or stronger links with local tourist professionals in order to offer new activities and new services. We have been working on, for example, now in terms of services, we can offer flexibility in arrival and departure time. We set up room service. We create space for the parkings. We create fitness centers, even spa, and we propose new activities and excursions. All this has led us to focus on new topics, on new themes, such as the discovery of the Pyrenees, also outdoor sports, local products. And in short, Nathalie, you can stay an entire week in Lourdes and never get bored.
Yeah, you're right. We're really lucky to live in such a beautiful region that we actually have to preserve. So are you doing anything in terms of sustainable tourism?
Yes, for sure. So first of all, we established collaboration between professionals of the accommodation and the city of Lourdes to move for more sustainable tourism. We have been launching shortly a huge and ambitious long-term project with the support of the ADEME, which is the ecological transition agency of the government for that. And already we have been working on some specific topics, such as improving the waste management, also reduction of the energy consumption, increase in the share of the local products for food services, and what we want also is to make our guests aware of their waste management during their stay in Lourdes and around, in excursions or walking around in the city. And we are all convinced and sure that all these actions past and future, are really part of a vital challenge for the years to come.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I'm sure all our listeners do as well. So thanks for helping us understand how innovative the accommodation is in Lourdes. So let's see what else is happening in Lourdes with our next participant. On top of being in a beautiful region, we're also in a destination that is very active. So that's what we're going to see with that's what we're going to talk about with Mélanie. She is a project manager for the state program dedicated to Lourdes. Mélanie, why is there a specific program for Lourdes?
Hello, Nathalie. Nice to be here. So the French government is helping Lourdes thanks to a huge recovery plan for tourism in the long term. It is composed of approximately 50 different actions.
One of them
is a cultural ambitious program, which happened during the season. So this cultural program was made with local partners working together in a federative and engaging spirit. Lourdes is innovating, is creating a new identity to be more attractive.
So what's in this program exactly?
So this program is composed of many different types of events, spiritual experience such as Les Nuits de Lourdes. There are also festive happenings with fireworks, also cultural exhibition, street art painting or theater performances. Among all these events, we have a specific music festival named L'Offrande Musicale. So this festival was created by the famous French pianist David Frey, who was born near Lourdes. And the aim of this festival is to make classical music concert accessible to everyone. This kind of events make a lot of sense for Lourdes because 20% of the ticket is offered to disabled people. Moreover, we want to add some sport events such as mountain bike races, also trails, and of course the Tour de France. To summarize, you should come to Lourdes, and I am sure that thanks to this amazing program, you will find what you are looking for.
So if I want to assist to any of those events, how can I buy tickets?
Well, most of the events are free, Nathalie.
Seriously?
Yeah. This program is open to everyone. Family with small children, people of all ages, all nationality also. It is also accessible to disabled people as much of the events are taking place outside. For example, in the sanctuary or in the city center, at the marketplace or within the castle ground. Moreover, we are working on a website, a dedicated website of this program, and it will be available at www.lesestivaldeslourdes.com. Get excited, it's coming soon.
So if I had to see a few events, what's not to be missed?
Well, I would recommend for all foreign people who love French food to go to the night market. It will take place every Friday night during the summer season, and you will find all the French products. Pyrenean gastronomy is a point of pride, and you need to test it. And finally, for yogi people, I would recommend the experience of having an outdoor yoga session in the garden of the castle. You will have a wonderful view on the mountain.
So I'll definitely join those two. Thanks for the tip, Mélanie.
Thanks.
I'm sure all our listeners will also want to take a peek at the Great Season program. So now stay tuned for questions. We're now going to have a look at the chat. Webmaster, are there any questions for our first roundtable participant?
Yes, we have different questions. First of all, for Laurent, what kind of activities do you have for families and with young children?
So you have many activities around. So you have activities, of course, downtown in the city of Lourdes. So you can go for either cultural activities. You have the Castle of Lourdes. Or you have also natural sites like Pic du Gers. If you go for a walk with the family, you can climb with the funicular. You can have also, as said Cécile, a walk, an historical walk in the city of Lourdes. You can go to the Lake of Lourdes. It's very beautiful. So there are many activities around for the families. And after, you have also around parks, natural parks. You have zoo. You have animals that you can see in the mountains. You have activities like I don't know how to translate acrobranche, but it's well. You have also you can hire some bikes, as explained Céline. So you have many things to do. Just ask to the receptions of the hotels, and everybody can answer to you to give you precise information for all of that. But there are many activities.
The acrobranche, it's that thing where you go on the trees.
Yes.
And you can
climb on trees with
and they have one for kids where you're really low.
Yes, that's correct.
So that's quite interesting. And there's a little train as well in Lourdes.
Of course, museums also, so you can do and see many things, experience a lot of activities.
Thank you, Laurent. Are there any other questions?
Yes, I've got a question for Melanie. You spoke about different events for this year, for this summer. Will these summer events be renewed every year?
Yeah, of course. We want to plan every summer, every year, this kind of program. So it's the first edition in 2021, but we hope to have it everywhere, every year.
Okay.
Thank you.
I've got the next question about visits in Lourdes for Cécile. Cécile, you mentioned different touristic sites in the city of Lourdes. Could you say us if all those places are free, or is there some places with free entrance?
You have entrance fees for the castle and for the museums, the Wax Museum and the Little Lourdes. And of course, if you want to take the little train, you have to pay. But we have city passes also, and so you can have a good price to visit all these museums.
There's actually one new card coming up that is called the City Card. And you have a lot of museums, including transportation as well. So that's coming up for this year. And you can buy the 24 hours, the 2 days, or 3 or 4 days pass. Anything else?
Question for Céline about outdoor activities. Céline, you spoke about web application to discover the different outdoor activities. Could you say us if the web applications are translated in different languages, and which languages, please?
Yes, the mobile apps and the website dedicated to cycling destination, mountain biking and road bike are in several languages, English, first French, English, Spanish and Dutch. And the mobile apps is very perfect for cycling for everyone because you have geolocalization, so you can say where you are even on your way and your ride, in fact, in bike. But it works also for your hiking. So it's the same apps for hiking and for cycling, because we know in the Pyrenees one day you are cycling, but another day you are hiking.
Yeah, I've got another question for you. Someone asked if you have a program for 5 days guided tours for bike and for groups.
Yes, of course. We made program. In fact, it depends on the interest of the people, of the level of the customers also. So we build all the program to 3 or a week with the tour operator, and we can add something new. You can have a ride on bike and taste some wine, or to make a stop to a restaurant. So depends on the interest of the customer and the level and what you want to discover in the Pyrenees. So we are working about it.
Okay, thank you. I've got a last one for Monseigneur Darod. Monseigneur, will the digitalization of a sanctuary continue? Will you continue to develop online events?
Of course. I mean, that's been an incredible turn in the way we are addressing also the message of Lourdes. But and therefore we have thousands and thousands of people connecting every minute to the shrine. For example, for Lourdes United, we had about 80 million people watching also a program during the day.
Can you tell us what it is, Lourdes United?
So Lourdes United was the celebration that we had for the last apparition in July the 16th, and I would like to invite you all to attend this Lourdes United in prayer also once again in July the 16th. We had millions of people watching together the same program and united in that prayer and praying for themselves but also for the world. And so I think that we get every day more than 10,000 intentions coming from all around the world, and we have to carry them to the grotto. That will remain, but also we see that people have that expectation to be able to come back also. That's very much the invitation that we had from Our Lady. Would you do me the favor of coming to Lourdes and to be there and to pray there? So indeed, the digitalization process will continue because we see that people want Lourdes. They really want to come back. They have this inner desire, and it's not enough just to watch our programs. They want to be there, just to be able to get to the grotto, just to be able to light a candle, just to see the statue of Our Lady, just to be a part of the torchlight procession. You know, that's what they want, to be there. And so we will help them as much as we can through the process that we put in place regarding sanitization and health security. But they want to be here. And I think that it is all the most important for tour operators to be aware that we get daily more than 20,000 intentions. And so the expectation is high. How can we get the people to Lourdes? And this is your job and this is your mission. People want to be here. And so indeed we're working. And we heard many of the people around talking about what you can do around the shrine, and that's indeed important. But people want to be here united and to experience once again that closeness, to have time for themselves and to be with Our Lady, just living the hopes, the fears, the dreams. Life has been tough on many of us. You deserve a break. You're entitled to be here with Our Lady. And that's something that many are just telling us. So digitalization is just a part, is just a way to enable the people to make somehow that experience of Lourdes, but it will never replace the fact of singing the Ave Maria during the torchlight procession, touching the hand of a sick person, asking for blessing, and asking for God's protection for yourself and for your beloved ones. So Indeed, that's what we need in the present time. We need relief. We need time. And people are looking for that.
Thank you so much. That was a brilliant speech, and I really appreciate it. I'm sure all our listeners have been touched as well, and they'll all want to come back and experience Lourdes, because as you mentioned, Lourdes is something you have to experience. It's not something you can leave behind the screen. So we've now reached the end of that first roundtable. I really hope it gave you a great overview of how innovative we can be and make you want to come back and see us. Now stay with us for more exciting news. Starting in a few minutes, our second roundtable on how Lourdes became a COVID-safe destination. And in the meantime, I'll let you enjoy our Pyrenees trip video. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the second roundtable to show you how COVID-safe the destination is. Let's dive in and see it in more details with Pascal Fortic, who's been the director of the tourist office for over 30 years. Hello, Pascal.
Hello.
With the COVID, has anything changed as far as visitors' requests are concerned?
Yes. As last summer, we think that this year tourists will be looking for wide open natural spaces we've got in the Pyrenees. But also, they will be particularly vigilant about the sanitary measures that will be applied in tourism resorts, of course, and in all the places they will visit, like the sanctuary or the castle.
So why is it so specific for Lourdes to comply with safety measures?
What is specific is that we welcome in Lourdes a large number of foreign visitors and pilgrims, often in groups, as well as fragile people. It is for these reasons that Lourdes has made strong commitments in terms of health protection and has implemented important measures to guarantee optimal sanitary conditions. We are indeed responsible actors committed to preserve the health and confidence of our visitors.
So for that matter, can you tell us what the role of the tourist office is?
The role of our tourist office is to ensure that the whole tourist offer in Lourdes strictly respects sanitary measures with one objective: reassures operators and our clients, of course.
So how did you manage that?
Our tourist office makes tourism providers aware about the importance of applying strict sanitary measures, and of course also we encourage them to apply for the safeguard certification developed by Bureau Veritas, which is a real security for customers. We wanted indeed to rely on the expertise of a specialized firm, internationally recognized, to audit the protocols implemented and possibly identify areas for improvement.
A third party is definitely a plus. Thank you for talking to us about the setup of this COVID-safe environment on the entire tourist industry.
Thank you.
So we are now going to discover what each tourism professional has introduced in their own area of expertise. Let's start with the sanctuary, welcoming our second guest, Dr. Alessandro De Francisis,
How do you do?
who's been the permanent doctor in the sanctuary for the past 12 years. Just before discussing with the doctor, I'd like to show you a video to walk you through the safety procedures in the sanctuary. It is very describing, it's well detailed, it's very clear. Let's watch it together.
Bonjour, je suis Sébastien Mézounave, je suis responsable du site pour le sanctuaire Notre-Dame de Lourdes. J'ai été chargé à ce titre de la rédaction de la charte sanitaire pour lutter contre la pandémie de Covid-19. Nous avons rédigé ce document de façon à vous offrir les meilleures conditions sanitaires possibles pour le pèlerinage dès cette année 2021. Vous la voyez derrière moi, c'est un document qui se compose d'une 60aine de pages et que je vous propose de découvrir à travers cette visite guidée du site du sanctuaire Notre-Dame de Lourdes. Ce film vient en complément de la charte sanitaire que je vous invite à consulter sur notre site internet. C'est un travail important qui a été mené par nos équipes en partenariat avec le Bureau Veritas et qui implique des méthodes de l'organisation et du contrôle qualité. Elle se divise en 4 points. Le renfort de l'hygiène, votre protection, la protection de la communauté de travail et en fait la limitation du virus, de la propagation du virus. Allons voir de plus près. Nous sommes à l'entrée Saint-Joseph. Dès les premières portes, les pèlerins sont invités à suivre les consignes et aussi à appliquer du gel hydroalcoolique. Le service sécurité du sanctuaire est d'ailleurs là pour veiller à ce que les consignes soient bien respectées. Des dispositifs de comptage permettent aussi de savoir en temps réel le nombre de personnes qui sont présentes dans le site du sanctuaire pour votre sécurité. Nous sommes dans la basilique Saint-Pilice, une des plus grandes églises du monde. Ici, comme dans les autres lieux de culte du sanctuaire, sont matérialisés à la fois au sol comme sur les bancs les emplacements pour les distanciations sociales. Les prêtres, avant chaque célébration, rappellent les consignes élémentaires de sécurité. Dans les confessionnaux, l'espace d'attente a été entièrement réaménagé de façon à pouvoir maintenir les distances. Les confessionnaux ont été entièrement réaménagés. Le pénitent rentre dans un espace désormais plus grand, qui est ventilé mécaniquement et qui le sépare du prêtre par une vitre, permettant ainsi de renforcer encore les mesures de protection. Nous sommes devant les fontaines de l'eau de la grotte. De façon à ce que nous puissions prendre de l'eau en toute sécurité, des capteurs ont été installés pour pouvoir puiser l'eau sans aucun contact. Nous sommes devant la grotte de Massabielle. Ici, comme dans les autres lieux de culte, des marquages au sol, comme sur les bancs, sont indiqués de façon à pouvoir respecter les distances sociales. Compte tenu de l'épisode épidémique actuel, il n'est pas possible de toucher le rocher, mais nous pouvons passer devant la grotte. Nous sommes ici aux piscines, où il n'est plus possible de se baigner. Une très belle démarche a été initiée par les hospitaliers et hospitalières, le geste de l'eau, qui consiste à se laver le visage avec l'eau de la source pour répondre à la demande de la Vierge à Bernadette, allez boire à la fontaine et vous y laver. Ici, aux chapelles de lumière, afin de favoriser le recueillement et la prière, nous avons limité les chapelles à maximum 6 personnes. Nous avons aussi développé l'offrande sans contact par téléphone ou par carte bancaire au niveau de ces bornes interactives. C'est à l'accueil Notre-Dame, peut-être plus qu'ailleurs, que la vigilance a été de mise sur cette charte sanitaire, avec une rédaction établie, avec des professionnels de la santé, notamment des médecins, et le bureau Veritas, pour faire en sorte que les plus fragiles soient accueillis dans les meilleures conditions possibles.
L'accueil Notre-Dame est d'abord un lieu exceptionnel pour nous. On dit toujours que nous sommes des privilégiés, car le site était vraiment exceptionnel et c'est le seul lieu que nous ayons en France où nous avons donc cet accueil-là. Pour nous, c'est quand même une façon de travailler remarquable.
Dès que nous avons eu connaissance du sujet du coronavirus, nous avons mis tout en œuvre pour retravailler nos protocoles en lien avec nos fournisseurs, avec des personnes extérieures et professionnelles, de manière à pouvoir proposer une sécurité supplémentaire par rapport à celle que nous avions déjà. Cela nous a permis d'accueillir des personnes de manière satisfaisante et sécurisante, de telle sorte que ces personnes et ces groupes ont décidé également de revenir sur la fin de la saison. Et pour nous, ça nous a aussi projeté sur l'avenir, en sachant qu'on est capable maintenant d'accueillir des groupes et des groupes de malades en toute sécurité, en lien aussi avec les équipes médicales qui les accompagneront.
Ces images montrent comment le sanctuaire se mobilise pour offrir un maximum de sécurité et faire en sorte que votre pèlerinage puisse se dérouler de la façon la plus sereine et recueillie possible. Nous avons le devoir ensemble d'être vigilants, particulièrement pour les plus fragiles. Cette charte sanitaire que vous retrouverez sur le site internet du sanctuaire vous précisera les consignes, les protocoles de nettoyage, l'organisation de la qualité autour de ces schémas, mais aussi les engagements des partenaires, que ce soit la SNCF, les bus et les hôtels. Le sanctuaire vous remercie beaucoup pour le respect de ces règles sanitaires. Votre collaboration est indispensable.
Nous avons fini et achevé le tour du sanctuaire pour montrer comment il s'est adapté à cette crise sanitaire que nous vivons. Cette crise, ce n'est pas la première que le sanctuaire a affrontée. Elle les a toutes surmontées, grâce notamment aux mesures prises, mais surtout à la foi des pèlerins qui est là, à leur confiance en la Vierge Marie. Le sanctuaire a affronté ces crises parce qu'il sait qu'elles ne dureront pas Et c'est l'espérance qui nous anime aujourd'hui. Le sanctuaire a surmonté ces crises grâce à l'adhésion des pèlerins, qui savent que c'est la charité qui les unit et qui les pousse à respecter ces mesures. La foi, l'espérance et la charité, voilà ce qui nous anime aujourd'hui pour vivre, plus encore, ce moment qu'il nous est donné au sanctuaire de Lourdes.
So, Doctor, following this movie, can you tell us more about the COVID-safe environment within the sanctuary?
Yes, and I would like to reassure those that are listening to us in this moment that Lourdes is not only a very famous Catholic and religious place of pilgrimage, but it's also the place in which a large and international community of health caregivers has been meeting for more than a century now because of the so many numerous cures that have been reported or alleged in Lourdes. Therefore, people know that here doctors and nurses and other professionals are active. So we were able to help the sanctuary develop what is, I consider now, a very safe environment, which moves on a number of doubles. For instance, we have worked for the safety of those that we are welcoming. We are working also for the safety of those that work here in Lourdes and in the sanctuary. In the same time, La Charte, this chart, this agreement that Monsieur Maisonneuve presented, is conceived in a logic of our engagement and your engagement. We have engaged ourselves to change very much our life, daily life and habits, although we have passed through many epidemics. I can just remember, for those that love history, the big epidemics of the 19th century was tuberculosis, the big epidemic of after World War II was poliomyelitis, so we are accustomed to that. But we needed also you on your side engage towards ourselves and help us to get a safe pilgrimage, and in the meantime also to help save your pilgrims and your tourists. To do that, I think we have to respect the three major rules that the World Health Organization has put very clear and has been unrevoked for the past year and a half now, which is social distance, obligatory use of the mask, mandatory mask everywhere, and of course the maximum possible hygiene. If we respect staying at a distance of at least 1 meter, if we keep always our mask, and I apologize for not doing that right now, but that was to make me known to you. And thirdly, of course, to have a very extreme and good hygiene of your hands. We think we are in the good direction.
Thank you for those detailed examples. Have you changed anything else?
Well, of course, for instance, most of it, the main things you've seen in the movie we just saw, but of course, the movements and the spaces in the sanctuary. The sanctuary was a place, and is a place, of major and massive pilgrimage. We are waiting, of course, government instructions in this country, France, and of course from the countries from which you're going to be coming, for meetings of more than 1,000 people and things like that. So the first thing I would say is the use of space. The second is about lodging sick and fragile pilgrims in our structures. We have 2 structures related to the sanctuary which are devoted for pilgrim or week pilgrims, and of course all the hotel organization of the city is absolutely symphonic to our effort.
I can see that you've worked a lot on the safety of our visitors. How can we get more information about it?
Well, I think the best is to avoid the how can I say, in France, what we'll say, bricoler. I think the best would don't be hobby searchers, but please keep in mind the major institutions. There's a lot of noises around things useful to do. For instance, good sound scientific advice shows with no doubt that vaccination, although not obligatory, mandatory, is the mean by which we are reducing the number of sick people and infections in many countries of the world. That's exactly why, if you look to official sources in the governments of your countries, from the Americas to Asia, from Europe to elsewhere, that is the good way to do. The second one, of course, is to look to our website. It has been said on the top right of our website, www.Lourdes, you're going to find the Charte Sanitaire, or agreement that was introduced to you. It's very long but very interesting because it's very well divided, very spaced. It will be updated all during the season. Now, for instance, today, if you click on it, it is dated December 2020. We are waiting the coming instructions from the French government in terms of what happens at the border and from the border to Lourdes. But that would be the second way that I would recommend, to consult official institutions, governments, World Health Organization, and of course the local institutions.
Thank you very much, Doctor, to go through those safety measures with us.
Thank you.
As you can see, the sanctuary is more than ready to welcome visitors. So one question remains though, how can we travel to Lourdes? We'll investigate with our next participant. We're now introducing Thomas, whose family has been working in transportation industry for over 3 generations. Thomas, how would you describe transport sector in Lourdes?
Actually, since the beginning, the transportation sector in Lourdes has never stopped creating and developing. One of the first coaches in the world was in Lourdes at the beginning of the 20th century. And in 1998, the first adapted coach to transfer disabled for a long distance was created for Lourdes needs. Today, every company in Lourdes has recent high-quality coaches from 12 to 14 meters. In total, Lourdes has a fleet of about 120 buses and coaches to transport people from the airports or train station to Lourdes Hotel, to transfer pilgrims, able-bodied or disabled, from their home to Lourdes, to go on excursion in the Pyrenees or to the Atlantic coast, or to go on tours or pilgrimages in Europe. In order to comply with the sustainable development and the quality we want to provide in Lourdes, we renew our coach fleet step by step on a yearly basis. Therefore, we always have coaches at the top of the environmental regulations. So I can say that quality and innovation are what we are made of in Lourdes.
That's great to hear about the high quality of transportation. And with the crisis, can you tell us how you deal with things?
Like everywhere else, we are living through a very difficult period. To build our customers' confidence, each Lourdes transport company has written a COVID-free policy based on the Veritas guidelines. This document helps drivers and pilgrims to understand how to handle things. This policy lists, for example, the points which must be checked by the driver during the disinfecting process.
Mm-hmm.
For example, before washing the floor, the driver must disinfect all contact points like seat handles, armrest, banister rails, etc. At the end of this process, the driver must spray an antivirus product in the coach to disinfect the fabric and the AC system. For the last point, the AC must be adjusted in the air recycling mode. There is also a special procedure for waste treatment.
So in concrete terms, can you walk us through the pilgrim experience?
Okay. When you arrive near the coach, you must wear a mask and, of course, keep it during the entire journey. You drop off your luggage close to the coach, keeping your distance from the driver, who will take care about the luggage and put it in the luggage space. When you get in the coach, you wash your hands with the hydroalcoholic gel found in the entrance. You choose a seat. trying to leave an empty seat in between two people. It's compulsory to remain seated at the same spot during the entire trip. If you need to take off your mask to drink, for example, you must make first sure that everyone around keeps it on. On arrival, you get off the coach following the person at the front or the person next to you, keeping distance. You wash your hands with hydroalcoholic gel on the way out, and you wait for your luggage, still keeping your distance from the driver and the other pilgrims.
Okay, so that's great for people in good health, but is there a specific protocol for the disabled people?
Yes, we have a similar protocol for disabled people for travel over long distances. But as every trip could be special because it's a disabled person has a specific requirement, we are used to customizing our services according to the client's needs. For example, during a classic transfer with able-bodied people, toilet must be closed. For disabled, toilets may be open, but the group organizer must name a toilets monitor who is in charge of cleaning the bathroom after each use.
Okay, thank you very much, Thomas, for showing us how safe it is to travel to Lourdes. Now, I just take this opportunity to remind you that you can ask questions anytime during the session. The link appears at the bottom of your screen, and we're actually receiving a lot of questions right now, so don't hesitate. We'll answer them at the end of the session. Thank you very much. Let's continue. So once you have reached your destination, Lourdes, you need accommodation, right? That's what we're going to see with Christian Gélis, who is the president of the Professional Hotel Organization for Lourdes and the Pyrenees. Could you tell us, Christian, more about the steps really that are taken by the accommodation in Lourdes in order to ensure the safety of our visitors?
Hi, Natalie. Thank you for welcoming us. And let me say just first a huge hello to any participants in this workshop. We are very keen, we are very keen in meeting us again in the coming months. Just to answer your question, what we can say is that all hotels have implemented proper safety procedures that meet the national requirements regarding the room's maintenance in particular. We can remind here main steps of those procedures, which comprise aeration and decontamination of the premises and equipment available, including the use of professional cleaning products in accordance with the NF 14476 French standard. Bedding and towels laundry is also carefully made at high-level temperatures. Any staff involved in room maintenance uses proper procedures as to avoid contamination between clean and dirty laundry. Of course, the staff wears proper work clothes, comprising gloves, for the purpose of its own security as well as the safety of customers. In common premises, as lounges or reception desk, as well as restaurant room, specifically dedicated equipment and procedures are set up and implemented. For both customer, staff and supplies, using of mask, hydroalcoholic gel, safety screen is strictly required when necessary. On a regular basis, all surfaces are decontaminated as to avoid any risk in transmitting viruses or any bacteria as well. Every member of the staff has been trained, therefore, waiters, chambermaids, receptionists or bartenders. The point at stake is that we all have to ask and behave in an ordinary cushion routine.
Safety procedures are quite impressive. Do you think that will become the new normal?
Well, we must keep in mind that those procedures are most likely to become a part of our standards from now on. I've said a routine. I mean that we all are now aware of the risk of a possible further sanitary crisis in the future, and we have to take that risk into account as an ordinary routine. I mean, it will not be no longer exceptional. Here is a clear goal: offering services with an upgraded insurance towards any health risks. We have to share this with our guests, and it is and will be a matter of concern for many of them. We assume that in the very next future, tour operators will positively require particular certificates of compliance to new safety health standards. Here in Lourdes, we think that we have to act in advance of any legal permanent requirements, as our guests are often fragile people who then need more careful service.
To what extent this process is implemented in the accommodation industry? Who is involved?
Well, at the moment, any of the 50 hotels that plan to reopen during the next weeks have joined the process of safeguard certification with Veritas. They will be able to deliver a copy of proper documents and audit reports on request. We assume it can help possible guests in making their final decision to travel to Lourdes. Anyhow, we have to adapt our processes in order to allay the fears of our customers. But what's more, we have to prevent them from fearing, and that is the most important in my opinion.
Thank you so much for your detailed answer. I'm sure that was very helpful for our listeners in order to understand how safe and accommodation is in Lourdes in a time of COVID.
Thank you, Nathalie.
So we've gone through the procedures, the safety measures that are introduced by the sanctuary, by the accommodation, by the transportation as well. So now we're introducing Gladys, who is project manager for the Bureau Veritas, specialized in certification.
Thank you, Nathalie.
Gladys, can you tell us what the Bureau Veritas is exactly?
Yes, of course. So Bureau Veritas is a leading player in the testing, inspection and certification industry across the world. As an independent third-party organization, we've developed a suite of hygiene items and safety measures called Safeguard. Safeguard is a label which is compliant with the World Health Organization recommendations, local regulations, and the recognized industry best practices.
Can you explain how you work?
Well, we've implemented, with the support of our specialists, a list of checklists to control the measures put in place by an establishment against COVID-19. So, what we've done is we've defined a list of points, of control points, which is a list of items that we control to ensure that an establishment, a site, is compliant with good hygiene practices, with social distancing, and with authorities' recommendation to control the risk of contaminations.
Do you have an example that you could share with us?
Yes, I have the two examples of questions that can be asked by the auditor. First, there is an item called knowledge, where the auditor will check if the establishment has a process in place to monitor COVID-19 regulation, how it is communicated to the staff, and how is it through instructions or meetings. The second example is about the item protection, where an auditor will check that there is a response plan in place concerning the suspect cases of contamination cases.
Thank you for those examples. So once we have that checklist, what's the next step?
Well, there is 2 audits, one remote audit to get the initial certification, followed by a field on-site audit where the auditor will visually confirm that the protective measures has been efficiently implemented.
So then when they come and they confirm that it's been implemented, do we get some kind of certification?
Yes. So you've got, once the audit is conducted, the auditor will issue a report, which is verified by another qualified auditor to decide if the label is granted. Following satisfactory results, Bureau Veritas will issue a safeguard attestation and for some sector, a sticker. Safeguard is internationally implemented and commercialized all over Bureau Veritas network. Our network covers around 140 countries.
Wow, that's quite impressive.
Yeah.
And now if I am a travel agency, how can I know if my supplier is Safeguard certified?
Well, we've implemented an online website where you can find a list of all the companies certified by Safeguard. And it's also important to note that the sanctuary has been audited and certified by Bureau Veritas.
Thank you very much for your participation. We really appreciate it. I hope our listeners have realized how COVID safe the destination Lourdes was, and that they're eager to come back and see us. It is now time for question and answers. Our participants are now ready to answer any questions you may have. So Webmaster, is there anything our listeners would like to know about Lourdes?
Yes, we have several questions. We're going to start with Mr. Gelis. A question about accommodation. How will groups be accommodated regarding social distancing, and what will be the limit in terms of numbers of persons?
Well, I'm sorry. I put it off. Okay, I'm back. At the moment, we are still negotiating with the French government some measures about it. We have specific measure already implemented, which is there are social distancing in a restaurant room, and we can serve people at a restaurant by 4 or 6 people tables, I think, and waiters have to, okay, it's 6 people at a table, and then next table will be distanced from 1 meter at least, and any people standing has to wear a mask, especially it has to work in the lobbies, and well, in the restaurant, when people sit, they can of course eat a meal without a mask, but from the moment they stand up, they have to wear a mask. It is the same way for waiters. It is the same thing for any staff involved. And before entering the restaurant room, all people have to wash hands with hydroalcoholic gel and maintain social distancing.
Any other questions?
Yes, I've got a question for Gladys. How long is the safeguard label valid for?
Well, the label is valid for 1 year, and each year the companies, the establishment, will have to go through another audit to validate it again.
That makes sense. Anything else?
Yeah, I've got a question for Thomas about transportation.
We're going to welcome Thomas again. Can you tell us what it is?
Thomas, Water occupancy of the buses is now allowed in Lourdes. You mentioned that about one empty seat between people. Does it mean it's only 50% occupancy allowed now?
No. 100% of occupancy is allowed. There is no limit, but the coach capacity, actually. We asked to leave one empty seat in between two people, only if it's possible. But you can use all the capacity of the coach.
I would guess that as long as they're wearing masks, wash their hands.
Yes, of course, yes.
Then it's okay to have two people. And they recommend to have one empty seat.
Yes, it's just a recommendation when it's possible.
Yeah. Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I've got a last question for Dr. Alessandro.
So we're going to welcome the doctor again.
I've got two questions for you. The first one is about the capacity for the sanctuary to welcome large groups again. Will it be possible for you?
The sanctuary is organized and exists in the territory of the French Republic. So it is very clear that we are not an autonomous republic. If the government at any moment should read a situation, an epidemiologic situation, by which it has to forbid the following morning that more than 100 people gather in a place, this is true in France today, but let me tell you, dear friends from other parts of the world, this is true also in your parts of the world, because we are dealing with a strong epidemic of a virus, highly volatile, with a very high level of contagion, and so of course that is the problem. I understand that you have the responsibility of organizing a group, you have expenses, you have to make also profit, you have people which fear, but this is the moment we are living. What we can tell you, all of us, as I heard all my different co-speakers today and earlier today, all of us, what we can assure, and if there's a place in France where today we are trying of thinking of pilgrimage and tourism in the best possible safe way that is existing, that place is in Lourdes in the Hautes-Pyrenees.
I remember that actually in the sanctuary, it was last year, you had different, for example, in the Basilica was 100 people, or at the time it was a different number. And then within another Basilica you had, so because of all the different places you have.
That was in the first phase, you're remembering, which is not more today, because the numbers were related to the surface of the closed space. But for instance, last year, the people of Lourdes know it, we could have, for instance, in October, a terrific procession with the great pilgrimage called the Rosary Pilgrimage from all of France, in which we had thousands of people in the respect of the regulations that had given by the government, not by the sanctuary, by the town of Lourdes, and everything went in the most magnificent way, and I'm sure it's going to be the same also this year.
Yeah, a last question for you again. We have a question for groups coming in Lourdes with people with health problems. They would like to know if there is an organization inside the holy place, the sanctuary, to have information and discussion about how to manage those groups.
Okay, my advice will be of two types. I don't think once you get in Lourdes, it might be too late to look for advice for people with special needs. I would strongly recommend any of you following this meeting to make contact. First of all, on the website of the sanctuary, where, as it has been said today, you're going to find many answers to your questions. The second, I would recommend you to write us to the Lourdes Medical International Association, of which I am the chairperson. The website is www.amilourdes, AMILOURDES, because there instead I have a network, of course, of specialized doctors in different domains of medicine, and I could perhaps give a kind of answer that not the rector of the sanctuary as a priest, or our friends that today spoke before me in the world of transportation and hotels could answer you. But remember, all of this will always be in the general framework of what governments decide and of how things can be done.
So I hope you feel much safer about coming to Lourdes now. I can see that there are a lot of questions, so we cannot answer them all right now. So please send us an email at the tourist office. The email address is communication, so COMMUCATION @lourdes-infotourist.com. It's written on your screen, communication@lourdesinfotourist.com. Any questions we haven't answered, please email them to us and we'll make sure to get back to you. So now we're getting to the end of our first roundtable. Thank you very much to all participants. Now, to conclude with this afternoon, we're very happy to welcome Caroline Leboucher. She is the director of Atout France, and she's going to walk you through the highlights of this event and the sanitary conditions in France in general. Up to you, Caroline. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Natalie. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Natalie. Thank you so much, Corinne and Nicole, for this very insightful conference. Dear partners, hello to everyone. I'm Caroline Leboucher, as Natalie mentioned, the CEO of Atout France, the National Tourism Board. Thank you so much for attending this Lourdes Pyrenees rendezvous. First, allow me to thank the organizing team as well, as Natalie just did, and all the very passionate and convincing speakers we had the pleasure to hear today. Dear international partners, I'd like to thank you as well for your interest in that destination and for your attention during this almost 3 hours conference. I hope you found those conferences insightful and that it gave you food for thought and for action. As far as I'm concerned, I've learned a lot about what Lourdes and the Pyrenees have to offer, especially new activities such as biking, trekking, canyoning, improved quality of services on top of existing customized services, including fitness or excursions, special attention given to commercial flexibility, as well, of course, as to COVID protocols, with a specific COVID charter to be found on the city's website, as well as COVID safeguard labelized establishments and hotels. As I've learned a lot also regarding the progress made towards sustainability, in particular regarding transportation, as well as an exciting cultural program for the summer season, not to forget Lourdes' beautiful surroundings and the majestic Pyrenees mountains. That makes Lourdes not only the ultimate spiritual place to go, but also a safe and very enjoyable destination for everyone. So as you must have understood, both locally in Lourdes, in the Pyrenees, in Occitanie, and here in Paris, we are really all looking forward to welcoming you again in Lourdes, in the Pyrenees, in Occitanie, in France, and to welcome your customers, your clients back in Lourdes as well. We're ready as soon as you are. As you may know, French President Macron announced a few days ago a 4-steps reopening agenda with European guests allowed back to France since last Monday, and all over international guests allowed back to France as soon as the 9th of June, provided that they get either a negative PCR test or somewhat a green pass. So the city and sanctuary of Lourdes are ready and eager to welcome you again. We're looking forward to welcome you as well. Until then, I'd like to all ask you to take care, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you again here in Riaude in France, and maybe in Nantes next year, next March, for Rendez-vous en France. Thank you so much, and à bientôt.